welcome to the Light Side Podcast. My name is Shola, I'm your host, and I'm incredibly excited to have you here. This podcast is all about fueling you with energy, positivity, and trust in life. You can expect to hear practical and expansive mindset tips and strategies to make meaningful changes in your daily life. We will talk about how-tos and stories to inspire and maybe even further awaken your presence, to live your life with more and more joy today as opposed to some point in the future or when you're on a holiday or trip. Topics will range from personal growth and development, self-discovery, mindfulness, and well-being, including guests and experts in these areas. And even if it's just for the exchange of feel-good, positive energy, I hope to have more of these conversations with you. I'm so very grateful to have you here. Today, I'll be sharing with you why I chose the name of this podcast, a peek into what I intend to deliver with what you can expect to walk away with, and a little bit about me. I know I'm not alone in how I felt for a very long time. I was in this perpetual race of getting that next promotion, that next raise, next big thing that I wanted, and still feeling unfulfilled and unsatisfied. And that's why I think it's so important to have these conversations and make these mindset shifts to wake up, to live life with more joy on a day-to-day basis and not as a result of things outside of us. I chose the name The Light Side because it represents the power of choice. In everything, there is the light and the dark, the positive and the negative, the yin and the yang, and being conscious to choose the light side can be our superpower in navigating and experiencing this complex yet incredibly beautiful life to its full potential. The name of this podcast is also a bit of a paradox because the light side is going to present deep and meaningful conversations and perspectives, not necessarily light and airy, though I'm sure that'll naturally happen too. A brief intro about me. I'm a Jay Shetty certified coach, a content creator, writer, and former vice president at Goldman Sachs. After 12 plus years in the financial services industry, I decided to take a gap year for self-discovery, travel, and to explore my passions, which include helping people on their inner journey. I love all things personal growth and development. I have a minor in psychology, but also have been binging self-help books for the last 14 years or so, and it really moves me to spread that love and joy that I feel for life with others. Also obsessed with all things matcha, just throwing that out there. Okay, focus. At the core of every experience we have lies our perception, intertwined and rooted in our mindset. And so knowing how we experience and decipher life is a matter of our mindset and the beliefs we hold means we have the power to transform and shift our life experiences and can effectively do so by shaping our mindset and the beliefs we have to serve us better. And so with each episode, my goal is to provide you with the tools and perspectives to propel you in your daily lives. Because what if your whole life experience can shift just by the thoughts that you have power over? We don't have to choose worry, fear, or negative thoughts in order to save ourselves from the pain of a potentially negative outcome, because it doesn't necessarily prepare or save us, but also it makes the process or journey in getting to the end result more painful and dreadful, which, by the way, the process is where we spend most of our time. So what if things can be really, really good? That is possible for you because you are and you have always been good enough. You are worthy enough, and feeling good is your birthright. And making small micro shifts in our thinking habits to allow ourselves to experience the good without tainting our day-to-day experiences with agonizing thoughts or worries can make a massive difference. We only sabotage what could be pure joy and love in this moment with the noise of fear and anxiety. As someone who was perpetually striving for many, many years in my corporate career, I was promoted every year until I made vice president at 28. Then I woke up feeling ever increasingly disconnected in a never-ending race, feeling trapped and deeply unhappy with insomnia and other side effects. Fast forward to today, I now know what it takes to step into your power, transform habits and beliefs that aren't serving you, to really find your truth and awaken to living your life in alignment with what makes you feel alive and happy today instead of a later date. Because life truly inspires me. You can ask anyone that knows me and they'll attest to it. I wouldn't be me without this deeply rooted and grounded faith I have in life. And so, to share a quick story about how we continue to be guided towards what we need to be doing in order to fulfill our life's purpose, our soul's purpose. I first started my blog in 2013, writing about life and spirituality. That was when I had left Goldman the first time. And I even have journal entries to reference sharing how I want to empower and help people find their inner joy and happiness on a day-to-day basis, and not just seek it in relationships or jobs, because jobs, things, and people come and go, but we always have ourselves to come back to as our anchor. Wow, I just had a crazy thought that it's almost like I had to experience that firsthand on my own before I continue writing and speaking about it. So, all fun things coming up on this podcast. All of this has taught me an important lesson, and it's this. What you're called to do, you're most likely meant to experience, and it will likely resurface and come back until you take that step. There may be delays and detours, but it's never missed, because your inner being, your soul, knows the way for you. And it's in our quiet moments and reflections and journaling that a lot of it can come through. And I think that's why teachings for thousands of years have encouraged meditation and prayer, because these activities really require us to be still and for us to tap into our inner knowing and our inner wisdom, because otherwise there's so much noise. I'll also say that my definition of success was different and has evolved as I reached what I considered to be success when I was younger, and maybe because it was never deliberately defined by me to begin with. And that's why it's so valuable to do the inner work and really get aligned with our higher self and our values as individuals. What makes you feel happy and aligned and in tune and at ease? It's so important for me to drive that point home and empower others to find that joy within themselves. And wink, wink, I am now certified to help you do all of that, including identifying your values and so much more. So DM me, I'll have my contact info in the show details. To give you a bit more background about me, I am 33. I was born in Iran. My life is a accumulation of manifestations. Who knew a little girl born in Iran without basic human rights as a Baha'i, a minority religion, would be living a really comfortable, peaceful, and what I consider a successful life in the free world? And I say what I consider success because it's important to distinguish that it does mean different things to everyone. Like we just talked about, I started actively manifesting and being a co-creator of my reality at a super young age, but really intentionally when I was 17 or 18. And I can share endless stories of manifestations, and maybe I'll create an episode for that, or we'll see. Let me know if you're interested to hear. There is so much power that each of us have as creators of our reality, as co-creators. And I want to empower you to tune into that, because it's a matter of choice to play that role in your life, to take responsibility for your thoughts and actions and be a deliberate creator. And I don't mean that by controlling every little thing, not at all, because that doesn't work. We'll definitely dive into that in another episode. But to be tuned in, to be proactive, to be deliberate. You don't have to be reactive to your circumstances. I understand that, for a lot of us, we're dealing with the cards that we have been dealt with. But what if we can change that, right? What if we can change that spread? I also want to say that I've been inspired by so many great minds. I've been a lover of wisdom for as long as I can remember. And as I stepped into this new journey of being an entrepreneur about 10 or 11 months ago, I've been navigating a lot of changes in my life. Not only did I leave my long term corporate career of over 12 years, but I gave back my apartment in a city I never thought I'd consider leaving. Another profound realization that I've had that I like to share with you guys is my source of happiness and where it stems from now. For background, I've been in love with New York City since before I moved there in January 2015. This dates back to for as long as I remember. And the first time I actually stepped foot in the city, not at the airport when we arrived to the United States, it was actually for analyst training with Goldman Sachs. It happened to be Manhattan Edge, which is when the sunrise and the sunset line up perfectly with the city's streets framed by the skyscrapers of Manhattan. It's a really incredible view, and I just remember being in tears, literally. Had tears in my eyes. It was the most colorful, beautiful sunset, and I just felt like this is where I belong. And it wasn't because of the sunset, I promise. There's specific memories and moments that I recall still to this day when I had that feeling. But the sense of being at home in New York is stronger for me than anywhere else I've lived. Once I got to New York and moved there with a job and an apartment, I can't say it more simply than I felt like there's no way I'm leaving anytime soon, or maybe ever, in fact. And the point that I'm trying to make is the last year was a transformative year around detaching from places and things that I had deeply invested in. And what I'm learning to be true now is that my happy place is within me. It's within my energy and the habits, the micro habits that I've implemented in my daily life that bring me joy and sustain my energy. They're not in my job or where I'm located, though I think they make a difference. I can understand the fear that comes with losing the identity that comes with a place or job. Yes, I may not have the VP title I had before, but I'm the person behind that title. I still have the skills title. I still have the traits and characteristics. I'm still a thought leader, a self-starter. I still have tenacity. I still have drive and a deep sense of ownership and accountability. I'm not sharing this to toot my own horn, but if you're fearing to make a big change because your job has become to define you so much, know that you'll still carry the skills and experiences with you. And if a change is made gradual enough, the risk isn't as heavy and you can see how it works out for you and you can always go back. That road doesn't just permanently disappear and dissipate. Unplanned diversion in the content I had planned for this episode. Back to what we were talking about. Where was I? What I find fascinating and love about life so much is that once we make a decision, everything else begins to unfold. Our choices are so powerful in that they orchestrate events that need to happen in order for us to move forward. Our decisions are the first domino that knock down the rest. And so it's so empowering to know that when we are in a waiting space and not making decisions, that's when we get stagnant. I left my role at Goldman 11 months ago and really started my coaching practice a month later after getting rid of all my things and moving across the country. Things moved really fast. I got to California in October, and by mid-month, I had clients lined up and had coaching calls by the end of that month. And it really hit the ground running. I was thrilled. But one of the lessons I'm continuing to learn is to slow down. Progress over perfection matters so much more. It's not about getting to the end or the finish line, but really enjoying the process. I've been a big doer for most of my life, and to shift from being a perfectionist and hyper productive to being more present with what is has been the one thing that's given me more time back. You'd think as someone who was hyper productive, it'd be the opposite case, but now I can actually feel time and I'm present with time. It's not just flying by. But all of this to say that a lot can happen and change in a short period of time, or however long you want it to. All it requires is our willingness to shift the way we think or how we view something. And a lot more can come into play. We'll expand on that on upcoming episodes, but I'll also add a lot of people consider me to be really lucky by the timing and events that occur in my life. But I don't believe that's by chance or coincidences. I believe it's through deliberate intention, creation, and belief in the good, the light side, which is available to you and it will show up for you. We tend to see what we want to see or believe. And you might say, why would I want to be negative or have negative beliefs or thoughts if they're not really there? And we'll dive into that. I aim to spread that knowing and that power of positivity that resides within you so that you can tap into that and experience that on a frequent basis, because you're meant to be happy and to live your life to its full potential. My intention with each episode is for you to walk away fueled with energy, positivity, and trust in life. So lean in, let's grow together. I hope this resonates with you, and I look forward to hearing from you. Please DM me if you have any questions or feedback, or just to say hi. Please subscribe, leave a review or comment, and tune in. I'd love to have more of these conversations with you. I think I may have said that like 5 times, so I'll stop. I appreciate you for being here. Until next time, I send you tons of love.